Hello everyone. I've got an LCT AK variant here, which we're just going to do some stuff to. As you can see, we've just chronoed it and we are firing 0.3s, because that's going to be the aim of this one. And we're doing 234 feet per second, which is about 0.7 joules. So there's loads of scope for improvement there. Now, this gun belongs to someone who is very into their milsim games. So their main request is to have a super quick trigger response. Now, to be fair, it's pretty bloody quick anyway. However, I have been asked to do whatever I feel necessary to make this a little beast, so we will try putting in some faster gears. We probably will try doing some short stroking. We're going to upgrade the barrel. We're going to upgrade the hop up. So there's going to be plenty of new bits going in, and we'll just see what difference we can make. Well, the last thing we'll check before we just take this apart is the full auto, which is 25 a second. It's not bad. So the other thing we're going to do on here, because where this has got a gate warfare, and it's kind of got the one signal wire attached rather than the direct to motor and the two signal wires. So one of the things we are going to change with this build, amongst doing the upgrades, we're going to rewire this in so that we've got two signal wires going to the switch, but I think it is the better way of doing things. That way we've got shorter cable going direct to the motor, which is going to help us with that trigger response, etc. So that's another job we're going to do. Okay, so we're inside the gearbox. We are going to change these gears. Now there's nothing wrong with them, but we want fast and we want responsive. So we are going to swap those out, and I'm going to opt for a 13:1 gear set. So the first job we're going to do is get them in the gun, get those all shimmed up so they're ready to use. Then I think we're going to move on and do the wiring. I reckon we're going to be alright with this piston because we've already got a full metal rack of teeth. So we'll just make sure they're going to be running smoothly through with the new gears, so I'm sure that will be fine. Pistons will be fine, we'll just make sure the air seals are all going to be good on there, and yeah, let's see what happens. Right, there's our trigger contacts wired to the signal wires. Basically, I've used the original one that was on there as a single. I've repaired a little break in the wire, and we've just attached another single, which will make a double. So that's done, and that's going to take the power that's going to run the motor away from trigger contacts, thus protecting this from kind of wearing and bits with the sort of power that would normally go through them under normal circumstances. So that's done. We're just going to wire it to the motor now. Just put a new nozzle on as well, because I was finding the original one wasn't quite the best air seal. This, however, absolutely perfect. So the cylinder and piston, that's now ready. So that's done. What we are going to do though, before we rebuild it all, or re-grease it with the gears and rebuild it, because we haven't got an excessively long barrel on this gun and we want super trigger response. Obviously we've got a ported cylinder here, so what we're going to do is we're going to short stroke the sector gear. Now my plan is to take 4 teeth off, because if we take 4 teeth off, that will release the piston about there. So we've already cleared this hole by more than enough. so we're not going to be hindering any volume, but it will just mean that we're going to release that piston 4 teeth early, which is just going to help with that semi response. So let's do that. Let's trim 4 teeth off that, then we can re-grease it, then we can put it back together. There's our gear, now that we've chopped off 4 teeth, so we did 4 off the front. Now, if you're going to do it yourself, always take it from the pickup side, and by that, that's the bit that picks the piston up first, for the pure reason that if you took it off the other end, you would find your piston would be released about here on its cycle, and that is going to reduce the amount of time that tappet plate has to come forward. By taking it off the pickup, we pick it up later, and it means we carry that all the way through, and we're dropping it there. So we're still doing the same time to pull the piston, but we're giving more time for the tappet plate to return. So when that's then released there, that will come flying forward, fire your BB, in more than enough time for the tappet plate to be picked up again. Okay, just before we close all this all up then, so it's all now greased. I've added a delayer gear on there to buy us some more time with the tappet plate moving. So hopefully that should feed nicely. And we've got a much stronger spring going. This is an M120 spring. So I'm hoping this is going to be as close to the power as we need, but we'll find out shortly. Now this is just basically the new motor lead, so that's going to feed straight from the MOSFET, straight to the motor. We've used some upgraded wiring, because the original wiring was probably a little bit thin. So we're going to carry the voltage a little bit better and the ampage, whatever the technical term is, who knows. So what we've done here, I've attached the new Dean's connector. Let's just get some heat shrink around it. Right, so we've got the old barrel out, the old hop up out. So we're going to change for a tight bore. So this is a 6.03mm internal diameter. So we're going to upgrade to that. We're going to kiss goodbye to that because that's trash. And we're going to say hello to one of these, a little bit of maple leaf magic. That's what we like. Like that. Now. Right, I'm going to put an Omega nub in here, and somebody's done a thing. That's all been taken off there. I think that's because of the limited space we've inside the gun. But I'm not sure if that is something someone's made, which basically comes up round the top. You'll see in a minute. But yeah, somebody's done a thing, and that thing is quite clever. It's in there, and then it comes over the top, so you can adjust it. Now I don't know if that's standard or if that's something someone has done previously, but it's clever, I like it. Before we go any further, it's probably going to be good practice to actually see if this thing fires before we assemble the rest of it, and also to see if we are about the right power. So I've set the hot by eye at this point, which if this is close to where we want it, we can set it all up in a bit. But for now, just in case we need to make any other adjustments, and we've got the 0.3 rounds in here again. There we go, look. 1.1 joules. So power wise, absolutely perfect. Let's get it built, set it up, and just make sure it's exactly where we want it. Pretty good. So that 1.1 joules, so 282 FPS with instant trigger response. So we like that. We are super happy. Should we see what the full auto does? .33 rounds a second. We're going to stop there. Things are getting out of hand.